14 minutes past the hour of 8, and the conversation on the Twitter jabs does continue based on the fact that it is an issue of national interest, and also very, very interesting conversation that we had this morning earlier on with Dr. Rogers. However, Mr. Frank Gashumba, beg your pardon, has joined us, and he's a political analyst to weigh in when it comes to all mixed reactions on social media in regard to the race for speakership. Good morning, Mr. Frank Gashumba, and thank you so much for being able to make it this morning.
Makeup.
I'm fine, thank you. Well, earlier on, we're together with Dr. Rogers, and we're weighing in on some of these matters in regard to the race, of course, for both speakership and deputy speakership. So my first question would be, at this moment, what kind of speaker does Uganda as a country need?
Of course, I think we need the type of a speaker Ugandans would love to get, a speaker that will put Uganda first. Unfortunately, it can't happen.
Why is that so?
It can't happen because NRM is in charge. The speaker will be pushing the NRM's agenda.
Basing on the statements that you're saying, are you trying to say that you are positively sure that the person that will be elected for both speakership and deputy speakership will come from the NRM candidacy?
That's 100%, I'm sure, because NRM has numbers, and it's in the numbers that are to decide. Actually, the race for the speakership is done. Anita is the speaker, Taiwa is the deputy.
Dr. Rogers, spare me for your thoughts. What do you think about what Mr. Frank Gashumba has just said?
He's confirming what I said. You know, they used to say, Katemba Mukoti. Now, what you're going to watch is Katemba Muparliament.
Very interesting. So, Mr. Frank Gashumba, let's look at the fact that opposition has collectively gone ahead to select Asman Basalira and Shoga North County MP, that is none other than Okot Bitek, for deputy speakership, while everyone actually thought that NUP would come ahead to front their own candidate. So now, would you say, in your capacity, even as a social and political analyst, that opposition is now showing a united front?
Well, why would NUP front its candidate? Because they are the majority in parliament? Mm-hmm. I don't think so. Basalira qualifies to be a speaker of parliament. He's a lawyer. This is, I think, his second time in parliament.
Okay.
He's very good at networking. But again, numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. And about NUP, there are people, there's a person like Medadi Segona qualifies to be a speaker of parliament. There is Seungu too can be a speaker of parliament. Mpuga is already the leader of the opposition, so whom are you bringing now?
But we saw it in the previous elections where we had Honorable Semunjunganda stand, and most of the votes did not even go to him. Instead, they went to an NRM candidate.
Yeah, I know it from a fact that all NUP MPs supported Anita Among and Jacob Oulanyah. You know, Parliament, I wish you would interact with these MPs privately. The perception Ugandans have about MPs, it is the opposite of me, because I interact with them privately. I know what they think. Many of them, Parliament is a venture now. People are into Parliament to make money. You won't believe it that some MPs can fight for 500,000 Uganda shillings. Some of them to attend an NRM caucus. You must assure them that there is transport refund. You get it? So it's unbelievable. The way how, yes, they have these titles of honorables, beautiful, but are they honorable?
And I want to confirm what Mr. Gashumba is saying. I also spoke actually to Honorable Segona because he's one of the best we have. Mm-hmm. And another man was Oboth in NRM. He's more mature than this one they proposed. And these are gentlemen, Oboth could be speaker, and Segona deputy speaker, if for a perfect Uganda, because they both are lawyers, they have the experience. But because of the body language of the country, right now we are just dealing with fishermen. Yeah? When you have a fisherman, maybe prime minister, a fisherman, vice president, now you need fisherman speaker and fisherman deputy speaker. Principles and best quality has gone out of Uganda. Okay. We want a quality which will do what the ruling government wants. So we are no longer having best quality, we have compromised quality.
So earlier, Mr. Gashumba, when I was with Dr. Rogers, and I asked him this question, and I said, even up until now, Ugandans still feel, the majority of Ugandans still feel that now wouldn't be the right time to be voting for who becomes speakership and who becomes speaker and who becomes deputy speaker, even before the fallen speaker is put to rest. What are your thoughts on this?
Me too, I feel the same, but the law is very clear. I think the framers of the 1995 Constitution, it did not come into their mind that a sitting speaker can die. I think one of the amendments they are going to make, that one will be inclusive, because I don't believe Oulanyah's body is not yet in the country and there is already a replacement. But Ugandans should know the law says so, that a parliament cannot run without a speaker. Personally, I would think the Chief Justice would take over and run the parliament for like a month till when they elect a new speaker. But I think it has worked in Museveni's favor, because if they had left a gap for a month's time, trust me, MPs would be fighting for this speakership. You had like over 5 ministers had picked forms.
Yes, yes.
5 ministers. It was unbelievable. So if there was a gap of 1 month, what would you expect?
You know what I'm saying, and in relationship to what he's saying, that's a law, yes.
Yes.
But it shows the selfishness of the MPs. Oulanyah was a member of parliament and deputy speaker at one time. But such laws, they see them, but they don't pick them up. They just look at the laws which favor their boss. Now, there is no mourning, because him as a legislator, even if it was done in 95, these gaps would have been noticed.
I can tell you.
They ignore them and they are looking only for the one of their boss. And now it is he punished himself. We cannot mourn him, because such things, they were supposed to be a constitutional review process. It was sabotaged. So every law is being done for.
Okay.
Doctor, I don't agree with you. We have to sympathize with MPs. None of them have. Oulanyah has gone in the records of Uganda, the first sitting speaker to die. It's like we lost our father in 2019. Well, and I told my brothers, he also died of cancer. Which Oulanyah died of cancer, that one I know, because Oulanyah has been a personal friend. And doctors told us, you know what, you should start preparing. The moment they tell you should start preparing, you know, chances are 99% that he's going to die. So I tell my brothers, you know, we should start and prepare. And I remember, and one was asking, how many mourners do you expect? I said, for me, I think of like 5,000 of them will turn up. And one laughed that it's impossible, there will be like 500. My God. It was like a 10,000 mourners that turned up the body of my father. So because it was a first experience, the management was poor, everything was poor. It's the same with the speakership. Nobody has ever thought a speaker of parliament can even die.
But don't you think that is something they should have thought about?
Yes,
No.
and Mr. Gashumba, before we were expecting a constitutional review process.
It has started, by the way.
No, it was supposed to start even before this thing of age limit came. But the MPs cushioned, including Oulanyah himself as one of the people in charge, in favor of debating the age limit, which favors only one person. But if we had had a constitutional review, we are very many lawyers. One of the people would have brought out this gap. But it has been
But
sabotaged.
naturally, Africans, we fear death. We fear death. How many Ugandans are willing to go for an HIV test? How many are willing to go for these cancer tests?
The fear of the unknown also.
You get it? True. Naturally, Africans, we fear death. And like it or not, we all must go.
And that's why we should plan.
You get it? And by the way, even if you plan, what happens after your death? Sometimes it's the contrary. But I think they're going to look into that.
So now that everything, all has been done and said, I mean, it has been come to our consensus, and we know that today at Kololo Independence Grounds, MPs will be gathering to vote for both a speakership, and then we shall have the speaker who will preside over the voting for deputy speakership. So now that we have moved past that, what should be the way forward? What should be done?
To do what?
In order to curtail, because there is so much going on right now.
Don't expect anything much from Parliament, my sister.
Okay.
Look at Parliament like a 2022. We are in March now. December will come. For me, I look at Parliament like any other institution in Uganda. And don't blame this, don't even blame the Speaker of Uganda. Who elects these MPs? You and me. If there was an election in Windy National Park, and he went to stand and the chimpanzees stand, you think chimpanzees will vote for him? They will vote for their own. It's the same. Don't blame Oulanyah, don't blame Anita Among, don't blame Taibwa. It's you who vote these MPs. For me, I interact with them privately and wonder. A person does not even qualify to sit on an LOC committee, but is a member of Parliament. What do you expect? Sometimes I hear you guys bashing speakers, blah, 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 blah. Oulanyah said the first time he appeared before the first time he sat in Parliament as a speaker, said, debates here will be based on research and facts.
Yes.
How many MPs have libraries? How many MPs read? They don't. Semujunganda was telling me, they meet him in the corridors of Parliament. Nakano wali badde okwogedde n'ababuuza gwe mubaka. They don't read. You get it? And you won't disperse information unless you read. That's a fact.
Yes.
If we want to kill ignorance, develop a culture of reading. They don't read. So, sometimes...
Too much frustration.
Very. For us who care to read, who care to watch Parliament of UK, the Senate in the US, you wonder. Very articulate people.
Going to.
Now, actually to me, Parliament, we need like 50 MPs. Yes. Do you know why you guys always praise Semujunganda that he's articulate? Because he reads and he has a background of journalism.
Yes.
And I think it's beyond the background of journalism. We have MPs who have also a background of journalism. How are they performing the floor of the House? Oulanyah has been good because his background. Oulanyah has a fully fledged library. You get it?
Yes.
Now the question is, these current MPs. For me, I look at them like any other person. You know, I think I'm getting old. I no longer want to be assertive the way I used to be, because I know the right words to use to those MPs. But now I've given up.
How about, let's look at the aspect. And earlier on still, we had also hinted on the issue with Dr. Rogers in regard to some of the leaders, especially from the Acholi, Lango and West Nile sub-region, who threatened to boycott these elections because they felt that they were not being represented. Because for them, it's an issue of tribalism. What's your thought on that?
First of all, these MPs spearheading that, they are stupid. One of them spearheading it, I know him, Gilbert Oulanyah. The man decampaigned Oulanyah in the previous race between Oulanyah and Kadag.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yes. Now he's everywhere. I was at the center of Oulanyah's campaigns. I know MPs that supported him. That man did not support him. But he's everywhere saying that this lot belongs to us, guys heading from the north. And if you are saying it belongs to the northerners, what will happen if Museveni dies tomorrow? Panyankole will say that the presidency is for us. Aitasos will say the vice presidentship is for us. Banyoro will say the prime ministership is for us. Now we were Vandima, where are we going to be? So people should be elected strictly on merit.
On merit. So when a speaker today is elected into power, in your regard, what should be their first assignment?
Not elected, selected.
Those are your words, and I'll quote, according to Mr. Frank Kashumba, when a speaker is selected today,
and
what should be their first assignment?
Her first assignment?
Her first assignment.
I don't see something is that she must look at first. As me, same usual Parliament. I hear people talk about prices. Now there's a range, I always hear it on social media, radio, people crying out. I hear prices for essential commodities are up, isn't it? But they don't affect top government officials. They don't buy fuel. I always hear you people saying petrol is up, diesel is up. Ministers don't buy fuel. You get it? MPs the government of Uganda provides fuel to MPs. The government of Uganda provides fuel to technocrats. All those cars bearing red number plates. It's you, the taxpayer, who pays for that fuel. They simply don't care about you. They don't feel the pinch. You get it? They don't feel the pinch. I hear sabuni womuti wa bei bamukoze sabu. They don't even use it. So Parliament will run normally the way it has been.
Okay, this goes to you, Mr. Frank Kashumba, and Dr. Rogers, you will definitely win. But I'll start with you, Dr. Rogers. Does opposition stand a chance to win speakership?
Like I've told you, it's rhetoric, comedy. Even the ones who are for speakership, Mr. Kashumba will tell you that they were in opposition 5 years ago. So if
actually,
opposition has been given a chance, but the truth is, like he's saying, there is a moral decadence whereby everyone now, the ruling class can use anyone. So we are all in a position of state capture where whoever they use, whoever they pick, given the monetarization, they will compromise them. So they are no longer even worried who can we use. They will go in opposite, because right now the ruling government is using oppositional leaders.
No,
weak opposition leaders.
Doctor, I think what we should praise Museveni for is the ability to identify potential leaders. Because it's him who identified Anita Mongi. Now Anita Mongi, she's the Speaker of Parliament. Anita Mongi...
She's not yet the Speaker.
She's the Speaker unless she dies now.
But Frank, identify how? I like that. He actually is a good man to identify. But the problem, he compromises them.
But that's the way leadership is.
But
if you were the chairman of NRM, what would you do? You see a potential lady in FDC. She was the treasurer in FDC. Taiwa too was, I don't know, I don't recall the title he had. But he was also a potential leader.
But you see, he kills his own in NRM who are potential, who cannot be compromised, and he brings maybe the potential from opposition.
I don't think so. I think
I can give you an example of many he killed.
Like,
for example, I'll tell you, Augustine Ruzindana was a critical NRM member. Many of them, if you give me a day, I can name all of them.
But
because
President Yoweri Museveni no longer want his agents in cabinet or anywhere near him. You know why? They always remind him, this is not what we fought for. He needs young men who are below 50 years.
Yeah, but
you get it?
But for example, there are young men who can not be compromised.
Like
and
who?
Knows, myself here.
Okay, so gentlemen, as this conversation could go on and on, but finally, as we wrap up the conversation, I would like to hear your final remarks in regard to this particular issue. And I'll start with you, Mr. Frank Kashumba. What are your final remarks in regard to the race for both speakership and deputy speakership?
There is no race, first of all.
Okay.
You remember the race was between Kadaga and Oulanyah. The day they elected a speaker, it was as if we were watching World Cup finals, the tension in Kampala.
So today we're having the same?
It's no more thing. Today, I'm telling you, they are selecting. You're getting the caucus, the executive, the SEC of NRM
The SEC, yes.
picked whom they thought was the best person for speakership. Today, yesterday, I think, caucus sat yesterday.
Yes.
And they endorsed Tataibwa.
Yes.
Today, they are selecting. That's it. There's nothing. By the way, the day they were electing Kadaga and Oulanyah, I think 80% of Ugandans knew that today they are electing the Speaker of Parliament. But who cares now?
Dr. Rogers, your final remarks.
Yeah, I also say, one, Ugandans should know it was their responsibility. They gave a poor quality of MPs. And whichever display you are seeing is your quality. I say this is a compromise parliament because the public gave poor MPs because they were given...
Everything is dead in this country.
Yeah, so
everything.
We don't expect much. We should just cry for our country, Uganda.
Thank you so much, Mr. Frank Kashumba and Dr. Rogers, for joining me this morning on Sunrise at Sea and for being able to make it. Well, that wraps up the conversation that we had for you this morning on the Twitter Jabs. This conversation could go on and on, but it continues on our social media platform, and that is at CTV Uganda. Let us know your thoughts about this particular issue at hand. Well, that wraps up, and up next we take a look at what's happening in our views. Keep watching Sunrise at Sea.